Ticketmaster?
No, not those. TickPick.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Wisco Fanatics Tuesday evening. We are covering the Packers' win over the Cincinnati Bengals and their upcoming matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. That is going to be in Arizona.
Wait, we won? We won? You wouldn't think so, like people's reactions.
There's a lot of complaining, and I did address that in my notes, so we'll get to that. I even put it in the episode description. We're going to address some of the complaining because it's nobody can just.
No, you have to win by 30, otherwise it doesn't count.
If you play a team that you perceive as bad and you don't win by 30 points, then yes, welcome to.
But then if you win by 30, you only did that to the Bengals.
Yeah. There's no winning, dude.
Exactly. That's exactly it. We expected you to win by 30. All right, so we're going to hit the intro and we'll get into it.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so Jake's going to join us shortly. He's watching his son's last football game of the season, so he's going to be with us in a little bit. So still going to start with Simon, going to discuss the blitz versus coverage breakdown.
Yeah, so this was I feel like we blitzed a little bit more than we usually did, and I thought it came with pretty decent results. Joe Flacco ended up going 4 for 10 for 41 yards, and that includes the Jamar Chase touchdown. That was just, you can't even be mad at that. Nixon had really good coverage on him.
Once in a while, which is a crazy thing to suggest to.
Yeah, an all-pro receiver beating a guy that's
a second year corner. Yeah, like, who knew? But including that, and Nixon had good coverage on that play too. All he had to do was turn his head around, and he tried too. It's just Jamar Chase made an incredible play, and that's one of those you tip the cap to him and be like, "Hey, great play." That's why the guy makes $50 million a year.
Yeah. And then outside of that, I thought just in general coverage stuff, I thought they just took away the big play. That's why, and I thought the Bengals adjusted really well to that in the second half because there wasn't a ton of that. And they got into their quick passing game and they took these long drives, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. And they end up scoring a couple touchdowns, and Joe Flacco played a pretty good game overall for being there for a few days.
I would throw in there, I was going to hold on to this until the coaching part of it, just to really emphasize your point on taking away the big plays. The Bengals did not cross midfield in the first half.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you for the compliment. We appreciate it. I'm going to jump into the D-line, and I'm sure I'm going to cover some of the pass rush stuff that Jake would have brought up. But I want to start with saying I miss Devontae Wyatt. He is a difference maker on the Packers defensive line. It's not a secret. I've been talking about it since last season that the Packers defense, it relies on Devontae Wyatt. And I also spent the first 3-4 weeks of the season saying that I believe he's going to be a Pro Bowler. So I want him back as soon as possible. Obviously, I want him back healthy. I don't want to rush him back and risk re-injuring, but we need Devontae Wyatt back. And I miss Devontae Wyatt, and he is very important to the Packers defense. Now, without Devontae Wyatt, we got a lot of Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, and Micah Parsons on the field together, which I thought was interesting, with Lucas Van Ness and Micah Parsons actually lining up on the inside of the defensive line, which is very interesting. Lucas Van Ness was the one to produce the Packers' first sack in the red zone to force a 3rd and goal at the 10-yard line. He did get hurt on that play and didn't return to the game, which is unfortunate. Warren Brinson was the Packers' highest defensive rated player for getting 2 pressures in his 19 pass rush snaps. It's a 10.5% pressure rate. And then Micah Parsons was the number 2 rated Packers defensive player, despite being constantly held, something I'm sure that's going to come up during our conversations of this recap. But unfortunately, Carl Brooks, Nazir Stackhouse, and Kingsley Enagbare were the Packers' bottom 3 rated players. So there's definitely some opportunity to improve on the defensive line, despite the Packers having some really good players there. So Jake, what do you want to say on the pass rush?
Yeah, I thought the pass rush was honestly, Micah Parsons was pretty consistent all day. They were chipping him, sending double teams at him. He could have absolutely wrecked this game had the refs, not covered their eyes every time that he was rushing the passer. I'm at the point where, people are going to call me whiny and say, get over it, and that's sports. But, dude, this is getting freaking ridiculous, dude. He's getting bear hugged. He's getting choke holded, 2-point takedowns. I mean, it's just getting fucking stupid, dude. A really good, I know you brought up LVN. That was a really good rep by him to absolutely just demolish. I forgot who he's going against. Was he going against, was he coming from
left tackle?
The left tackle? Oh, so Orlando Brown.
Yep.
Really good rep for him. Getting in there, showed some really good strength, good hands. Got in there pretty quickly. So hopefully he's not hurt too bad. That will really hurt. We'll start losing a lot of depth if they start dropping like him, LVN, Wyatt. But overall, I thought they were pretty good. This defense, people are complaining about the second half defense. The defense will take a massive step forward if they start calling some of these holding calls. And it's not just on Parsons. I mean, we went through this last year with Rashawn Gary not getting some holding calls as well. So maybe if the refs start doing us some favors, like all our division rivals think that we get all the calls, maybe if they actually start doing us some favors for real, this defense could take a step forward, getting them some down and distance situations. You can't just get rid of the ball for a 5-yard out every time when you're at 3rd and 17, right? So, I mean, maybe you can. That's only if you're Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, I guess. But, who's keeping count?
Cody made fun of Simon for his mustache, so he turned his camera off so he could go shave it real quick. My uncle asked if we were watching Brewers. I do have it on the split screen. So, that, moving on. Bryant, how did you feel about the linebackers and the tackling?
Yeah, real quick about the holding calls. I do like the fact they let him play to a certain degree, but the egregious ones, like Matt LaFleur said, they need to be called. Like
you got to call one where like he's got an arm around his shoulder, like. Yep.
There's honestly one I thought we should have been called on too, where it was an arm bar across the chest of probably Hendrickson, I think it was, and I was surprised it wasn't called. But yeah, you do want to see a few of those get called because it does happen to the greats like Micah Parsons and Hendricks and Watt and the Garretts of the world. It happens to them a lot more frequently than it does to other people. So yeah, so going on to linebackers, I thought. Immediately Cooper had much better game than he has the last few games before this. I felt like he was kind of flying around. He had a tackle for loss. Together they both, they combined, Quay and Cooper combined for 19 tackles, but they did struggle a little bit a lot in coverage. Now, granted, a lot of those little dump downs are just tacked against Cooper and Quay. The only one that was kind of like, I wish Quay could have made a better play there was the touchdown to the tight end on 4th down. If Quay turns around the other way and isn't like trying to do a backhanded like block of the pass, he probably bats it down. So just like to see him get in better position there. But overall, I thought they had a great game as a whole. The team only missed 4 tackles. You can't ask for much more than that.
I
will say there was 2 times where I thought they had the guy stopped. And for whatever reason, they just let him push the pile. I thought that they had stopped progress, and then they let Cincinnati push the pile. In those ones, if that's going to happen, I'm not saying to dive at the guy's knees, but at that point, once you get them body, drop down to their legs and just tackle them, actually take them down.
You're asking, I think, in those situations, you're asking for somebody from the secondary to come in and just torpedo into that pile.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because that's how people get hurt. But, there's especially the one where they push like 6-7 yards after the fact. They're all stood up and then all of a sudden they push like 6-7 yards. I didn't understand that one. I was like, how isn't this blowing dead? Or on the 3rd down where they were stood up, and then that offensive tackle comes and just plows the pile. I'm like, he was stopped. When do you blow the whistle on these?
Yeah.
So they're always worried about safety and health until they're not worried about safety and health, which I swear to God is like every week. It's like, oh, safety and health. We got to worry about our player safety. And then they let stuff like that. I hate the pileups, dude. They're so inconsistently called, bro. So I'm on board with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to go along with, almost like the tush push type of thing. Like, who likes watching the Eagles do 4 plays in a row, eat up 3 minutes and 30 seconds of clock time to do 4 tush pushes to get into the end zone? And including a false start and at least 1 neutral zone violation that doesn't go called.
Well,
So,
the answer is people from Philadelphia. So if that tells you anything,
yeah.
Yeah, if Micah is doing his best and refs aren't helping him, it's egregious. I had this written down too. The Packers had 16 pressures and Micah Parsons had 4 of them. So despite constant holding, he still had 25% of the Packers pressures on his own.
Yeah, but to wrap up linebackers, I thought, and tackling, I thought it was a really good game overall. I thought they played really well. You could definitely see Cooper was flashing off the screen a little more. You'd like to see Quay make that, pass break up in the end zone. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid game by those two.
Yep, I agree.
All right, 3rd and 4th down defense.
Yeah, that's me. That's my cue. All right, so Packers held them to 6 for 15 overall, 2 for 2 on 4th down. The shitty thing is both 4th down conversions ended up being touchdowns. One of them was just an incredible catch by Jamar Chase. I mean, that guy is just filthy. You could say the same thing about George Pickens, our previous game. Every once in a while, the guy makes a catch, you're like, that guy is nasty, dude. So I did write down that Chase and Higgins are one of, if not the best wide receiver duos in the league, and they made Joe Flacco look really good, especially in the second half. They made it tough on the Packers DBs, and obviously, can't give any quarterback as much time as Joe had. He was holding on to the ball a little bit longer, but you're allowed to get away with what they were getting away with.
That's
going to happen.
fair.
They did say his average time to throw was like 2-point-something seconds, so that was few and far between that he was holding on to it. So
right, but in the second half, it felt like he had an attorney. I'm not going to lie to you. Felt like he had a lot longer in the second half. I don't know. Maybe it's
you're right.
So first half, 3rd and short situation, they went 1 for 2. They didn't have any attempts from 3rd and medium. That's the 4th or 7 range in my book. And then the 3rd and long range, 8 and over, they were 0 for 4 in the second half. So overall, they were 1 for 6 in the second half. And the Packers were dominating, honestly. They were dominating in the first half. Second half, they went 2 for 2 in 3rd and short area, 2 for 5 in the 2nd and medium area, or 3rd and medium area, and 0 for 2. So 0 for 6 overall, 3rd and long. So you get them in down and distance situations. That's when the defense and a really good pass rush, our front four, can pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen. We start getting some of these calls, right? So 5 for 9 overall in the second half. That adds up to the 6 for 15. And on 4th down, like I said, they had the 2 touchdowns on 4th down. And that's just Jamar Chase being one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league. So
Joe Flacco's average time to throw was 2.35 seconds. It was actually closer to 3 on plays that he was under pressure, which I think could almost be used as there's got to be some holding going on if he's got more time to throw under pressure than when he's kept clean.
Right.
All right, Simon, how'd you feel about the secondary?
I thought Carrington, Valentine, Evan Williams both had really solid games. Valentine allowed 2 catches for 7 yards, and he also forced an incompletion. Evan Williams allowed 2 catches for only 9 yards. I thought Bullard had a solid day before he got hurt. He allowed 2 catches for 18 yards. McKinney allowed 1 for 13. Nixon, here's the thing with Nixon is I feel like there were times, in this game where he put himself in a really good position to make a play on the ball, whether that's forcing another incompletion or maybe having a possibility for an interception, but he either didn't turn his head around or, like we said, Jamar Chase just makes an incredible play on the ball, and that's just something that you can't do much about. But I wasn't really mad overall at how he positioned himself in this game. I didn't feel like he got burned. I didn't feel like I thought he had overall a decent position. He just allowed some catches. So he ended up with 5 for 9 against him for 45 yards and obviously that touchdown. And then Hobbs allowed 4 for 31 yards. Jamar Chase had a good game. He caught all 5 of his targets against Keyshawn Nixon when they were matched up together. And that was the first game since the starting of last year where Nixon allowed over 40 yards in coverage. Surprising. That actually surprised me a little bit.
I mean, but if you were to read that off as a stat, not just for this recap, but for just a general stat, and you were to read that off and you would be like, the only guy to get over 40 yards against Keyshawn Nixon since last season is Jamar Chase, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Jamar Chase just did Jamar Chase things. He had 10 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. You can't even be mad at a player like that getting his way a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good player.
Yards even. I mean,
yep.
Especially on 10 catches. If you ask somebody, before the game, Jamar Chase is going to have 10 catches today. How many yards do you think he's going to have?
Yeah, 150.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably where it starts. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, all things considered, there's a lot of things in this game where it's like, yeah, it's not ideal, but could have been worse, and it's better than it is perceived to have been.
Is that the end of the defense?
I'm talking about the whole team.
No. I mean, like us talking about the defense. There's just one more thing.
Oh.
This team allowed 18 points. I'll take that every day of the week.
We're gonna say,
especially on Sundays,
about the offense too.
But you think like reading stuff that we allowed like 40 points or something? It's insane.
You'd think we won on a last-second field goal based on a lot of the things.
The one thing that concerns me is our second half defense, and I'll give the credit to Andy Herman. I was listening to this morning. Did you guys know since the Browns game when we allowed 3 straight scoring drives? So from those 3 scoring drives, the Dallas game and the Cincinnati game, we have forced one. We have forced 1 punt. The other one was a missed field goal. So that means every drive in those last 2.5 or 2 games plus a little bit against the Browns, they've scored every drive in the second half. And we got to figure out a way to stop that.
Bro, I was actually talking to my dad this weekend, and I was like, dude, I don't know why we don't make it. It's like the other team's allowed to make adjustments at halftime, but we're not allowed to make adjustments at halftime. That shit's starting to piss me off, too. So,
yeah. All right, red zone defense.
Yeah, so for red zone defense, I wrote down that it took them 11 plays and 2 fourth down last hurrahs to score 2 touchdowns. They gave up 2 touchdowns and 2 attempts in the red zone, so really not much to write home about. A couple good plays by the defense, couple knockdowns, 1 sack. Other than that, you can't let them score touchdowns in the red zone every time somebody gets there.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
All right. Bryant, this is probably a little bit better of a segment this week. How'd you feel about special teams?
Yeah, I actually wrote, I have to give Rich Bisaccia props after ripping him so much. Like, I felt like they were ready to play, and good job to him.
Progress, everyone, just so everybody watching knows this is progress.
Yeah, so, and Matt LaFleur gave Rich and Goody their props because they're the ones that said, hey, even though McManus went through a big workout and he said that he could kick, I said they made the decision to hold him. They obviously felt good enough about Haversack, so that means they did their research on him, which it is if it's below 45 yards, he's pretty much, a very good kicker, which most NFL kickers should be. Who was it? I was watching they missed a 26-yarder off the pole, and I was like, I've literally kicked 35-yard field goals just for fun to see how far I could kick, and I'm like, dude, in the NFL and you're banging a pole at 26 yards. Yikes. But but Haversack, awesome, like good for that kid to come in here, go 5 for 5 and hit a huge. We can talk about the fact that he probably shouldn't have been put in the position to hit the field goal, and I'm sure maybe we'll talk about that.
I was going to talk about it.
But to come in and hit that final field goal when it's possible if we miss that field goal, which we've seen in years past, we're only up 6 points, and if now they have 4 downs continuously to go down and score a touchdown to win the game, and he hits it dead down the middle like nothing. I know it was a windy day that he had the wind at his back that time, luckily, but he did an excellent job to come in and hit all his 3 extra points and his 2 40-something yard kicks. So great job on him. I thought the return team looked really good, averaging 33 yards per return, and that's from taking out from like the 1, 2, or 3. So a lot of times you're up past the 35 every time starting the drive.
I think both guys did it well too. Melton and Savion both had really nice kick returns.
Yep.
Yeah, and I thought Dobbs was fine on punt return. We'll agree to disagree. I think that Rich did not like that Matthew Golden took a fair catch on that one, and that's probably why Dobbs was in the game as a punt returner, because when you have that much room, you got to at least try to make something happen. And maybe Golden did have it in the back of his head, like I was absolutely plastered one of my last times I took a return, so maybe he was a little ultimately there was a holding call on it, but he doesn't know that that's going to happen, right? Yeah. So
My defense of that fair catch wasn't based on the amount of space that he had in front of him. I thought that it was close enough to the corner that it was potentially able to bounce and get closer to the goal line out of bounds.
Yeah, but he fair caught it at like the 14 or 14 or 15 yard line. I want to see him return it. I don't want him to let it bounce. I want to see him return it. Is where I'm getting at. He had a lot of room, so
he did.
Dobbs was kind of weird, like the one he caught, and he just stood there for 2 minutes or 2 seconds. I'm like, what's he doing? And then he started running. But I mean, you'd like to see him run and then diagnose. But overall, I thought Dobbs looked fine returning punts. I don't think he'll ever break one to the house. He doesn't have the kind of speed, but if he's going to be consistent at it, fine. He did
it in college. I remember bringing that up when we covered him for the draft.
So, but overall, very quiet, nice day from special teams. Couple dumb penalties, but it didn't bite us. And Hopper, you could say he shouldn't have thrown him down, but
I wasn't really up. I get the call, but that was one where I'm like, they blew the whistle. He had enough time to like just stand up and not do anything afterwards. That was dumb on his part.
Yeah, he needs to not hip toss him there. Other than that,
on the coaching as a whole, the coaching, looking at it, the Packers, they had essentially 8 possessions. They technically had 9, but one of them was the victory formation kneel down at the end of the game.
Yep.
So you look at 8 possessions. They had 2 punts, 1 interception, 3 touchdowns, and 2 field goals. They had 8 possessions, and they only punted twice. And obviously, you look at the Jordan Love interception, which we'll talk about. I'll save that for when we get to Jordan Love. But, I mean, you're talking 8 possessions, and you scored on 5 of them, including 3 touchdowns. Who's not taking 27 points? You're telling me on a week where a large portion of the fan base is salty that the Packers didn't play well enough, and they scored 27?
And they had limited drives because of a 10-minute drive.
An efficient 27 points.
Yeah.
And that's an off week?
Yeah.
You're telling me that not on our good weeks, not on our okay weeks, on our weeks where fans are like, why did we not do this good enough? Why did we do that good enough? 27 points?
Yeah. Take that.
Bro, you're telling, that plenty tells me that if there's a game where there's some back and forth going, or the Packers force a couple 3-and-outs, and they get 10, 11 possessions, and they score on 8 of them, and 5 of them are touchdowns, and you add 3 field goals to that, that's 44 points. You're talking about a game that doesn't get shortened by a 10-minute drive to start the third quarter for Cincinnati. That took up over 10 minutes of the 27 minutes and 16 seconds that they had the ball.
And what do we do immediately afterwards? Again, we respond, and that drive took us all the way into the fourth quarter. We scored a touchdown on that drive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. That was my next point. The second half, Packers offense went touchdown, field goal, victory formation.
Yeah. There was less than 2 full drives in the third quarter. Like, how do you let's go? I thought for sure, because I said it at halftime, I was like, we should have more points than this. Then to go into the fourth quarter with still 10 points, right? Or do we have 17 at that point? 10, right? 10 points.
It was 10-0 at half.
Yeah. So to go into the fourth quarter with 10 points, we scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. What do you like? It's just mind-numbing to me.
A long drive by Cincinnati really shortened the game, and that goes to Simon's point earlier about not giving up any big plays. There's no chunks for Cincinnati to get. Like, if you went and looked, I mean, I'm willing to bet they had fewer than 5 plays. I don't think they had a single play over 20 yards.
I don't think they had a single play.
No, I think there was one. Joe Flacco is credited with one big-time throw.
That's probably
the touchdown to Chase.
That was 19 yards.
Yep, that's 4th down.
Yeah, one big-time throw.
I mean, I think there was one play to T. Higgins where he was kind of open in the middle.
His average depth of target was 5.9.
Yeah, so I think we can have the conversation, though, that we might need to change up our defense a little bit, trust our really good safeties, and start playing in guys' faces so they can stop. Like, we can't, to drop it down and dump it down in front of us. I want to give our pass rushers a few more seconds, but maybe not even necessarily play in their faces. Let's take a couple chances and jump a couple routes or something. See what I mean? Like, I think we're at that point where we can maybe try something like that.
I'm okay with disrupting timing and stuff like that, because I think that's what happened on that long drive is Joe Flacco just got into a rhythm, and he was just dinking and dunking, and he was feeling good. Now, my last point I'm going to get at, I was literally thinking this before people were even complaining about this game. I was like, if Packers fans would get their goddamn heads out of their asses and actually watch other football teams instead of just watching the Packers, they might actually appreciate how good our offense is. Yes. You guys watch that Jets game?
Yes.
Holy hell, dude. They're horrible.
I've been saying it for a couple of years now. People need to watch other teams other than their own to get their bias out of it.
Horrible.
So that's a good point.
The Bengals did not have one play over 20 yards.
Yep. That Jamar Chase touchdown was 19.
Our first play of the game was 21 yards.
Yep. We're going to talk about some stuff when we get to some of the Jordan Love stuff, but let's jump into the offense. Let's start with the tight ends.
Yeah. Didn't see a ton of action this week, but I thought that Tucker Kraft touchdown was so funny. He just launched himself. He just went like he bumped past him. It was so he ended up with 2 targets, catching both of them for 43 yards and a touchdown. And then Musgrave had a catch for 7 yards. Other than that, it's literally Tucker Kraft and then Luke Musgrave, and you'll sprinkle in some Fitzpatrick. And that's kind of it. I didn't see anything crazy egregious in the run blocking or pass blocking that I noted anyways.
Matt LaFleur did come out and say that the first play of the game was like planned for a big throw to Musgrave, but it kind of got disrupted.
Yeah.
I mean, it went to Dobbs for 21 yards, so.
Yeah, I'll say I don't care. I don't care who gets the ball.
Yeah. Reggie said to feed Golden, which is always a popular topic of conversation. But how do you feel about the wide receivers?
Yeah, I mean, we can feed Golden, but what makes us really good is, Dobbs quietly went 5 for 55 yards. Like he just, steady. Wicks had a couple catches before he got hurt. Matthew Golden popped off. He did look great. He made 3 huge plays, and you kind of seen a little bit of everything he can do, right? You've seen this, the awesome yards after catch by him on the one play where he just kind of made stuff happen. I thought for a second there he was about to take that to the house.
I did too.
You've seen the great catch along the sidelines, which, holy cow, that was a great throw and great catch. And then you've seen him scrambling and get open on that crosser and just great hands and reach out and pluck the ball and seal the game. You know what I mean? So really you're kind of, seeing what Matthew Golden can do. He had 3 catches for 86 yards. Had some more rushing yards. So he had over 100 yards total, or around 100 yards total. It sucks that Wicks was injured. We'll have to look. I think he was at 898 or something.
No, he had 16 yards rushing.
Oh, so he was at 100.
He was 102.
Yeah, 102 all-purpose yards. So Wicks getting injured is unfortunate. I still do want to see. I want to see Savion Williams get to catch the ball instead of just run it. So yeah, I know
he's had a couple of catches this year.
Yeah.
But
I want to see it more. I know we've been rolling out Malik Heath and he's a good blocker and stuff like that, but I would like to see Savion get a couple of those snaps before Christian Watson pretty much erases him, or, not erases him, but it's going to be even harder to get Williams on the field when Watson comes back.
Yeah.
But overall, just really, fine, quiet game kind of by all the wide receivers other than Golden and Dobbs. But, solid game.
So Chris Michael said we don't need to see other teams suck to watch us progress. Talk to Lombardi. He would totally disagree. It's not necessarily so much that we need to have other people watch sucky teams to appreciate what we have. It's just, I would say I want people to watch other games just to learn the game itself. To have, some understanding of how football works without watching your team that you have the bias for, that you want them to score touchdowns every single drive and force turnovers every single drive.
You'd think we didn't have the second best record in the NFC right now.
I don't mean this in way, but I think it's just adjusting your expectations a little bit. Yeah. When there's so much going on in a football game that anything can happen, expecting perfection is just kind of ignorant in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think part of this too, and I get there's a lot of, it's the Bengals. They've been allowing this and this and this to their defense. Sure, there's maybe a little bit of that, because the defense is the same, but you really kind of have to toss your expectations out the window of what you expected our defense to do against their offense when they get a new quarterback, and it's not just bringing in a second stringer or a rookie. They're bringing in a very seasoned veteran. I mean, he's the second youngest starting quarterback only to Aaron Rodgers. Oldest is what I meant. Yeah.
Rodgers is pretty young.
Starting quarterback only to Rodgers.
By the way, Rodgers.
Nobody's confusing Joe Flacco for being young.
Rodgers looks good.
Dude,
I didn't.
This game's gonna be crazy. Like I'm almost overlooking the Cardinals a little disrespectful, but like I'm just so excited to see Rodgers. You know.
Yeah, me too.
We'll talk about the Cardinals in just a minute.
We shouldn't be overlooking them. I'll tell you that much. I have some stats.
I agree.
They're not that good.
But they're. I think they're better than people.
They're a little
think
better than their record, but they're not that.
They're
good.
better than their
better
record.
than people are gonna think they are.
They are better. Yeah.
All right.
I said they're a little
looking
better
at the
than their
passing game
record.
distribution, 7 players were targeted. Romeo Doubs had 9. Jacobs and Golden both had 5. I kind of like that mix, to be honest. I would like to see Tucker Kraft more involved, but Jordan Love did only pass 26 times.
Yep.
So yes, you'd like to see a little bit more of those go to Tucker Kraft, but with 7 players targeted, I'm not super disappointed with it. Jordan Love was 4 for 5 on 20+ yard throws. Fuck yeah, love that. That was a 118.8 rating that he had on those throws of 20+ yards. That was his best zone out of any of the zones on the field, was the deep ball.
Love it.
Love that. I did see people complaining that Matt LaFleur was doing too much stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Packers only had 4 plays of passes behind the line of scrimmage. Like, yes, they ran the ball a lot, and some of the, the wide receiver screen stuff counts, but I don't think that they really did that much behind the line of scrimmage that people need to be complaining about.
I think more people are just complaining about like the end arounds and stuff because sometimes it can disrupt the flow of an offense, in my opinion. So when you see a Bo Melton end around for 3 yards, you're just like, well, Jordan Love's hucking it down the field. What are we doing? And Josh Jacobs is running the ball pretty well. It just, I don't know. To me, I think it creates that image of those plays don't really necessarily work all the time. But from an opposite point of view, I'm just kind of talking. I think it can also take a defense out of its own rhythm too, because when you start doing the motions and the jet sweeps, players also have to take that into accountability too, because the Packers do have a lot of speed at the wide receiver position.
And the other thing I would say about that is if you're say they talk to Jonathan Gannon before the Packers and Cardinals play this weekend, and they're like, what do the Packers do well? And he says something like, they do a good job of stretching the field horizontally and vertically. Yeah. It's going to be that kind of stuff. So you can't just pay attention to the Packers going north and south. You also have to pay attention to the east and west.
And some of the sorry.
Go ahead.
My bad. I was going to say some of the motion stuff also helps win the run game too, because then you're also taking a guy out of the box, and Josh Jacobs goes to run the inside, like an inside zone play. You're also taking a guy that has to carry a wide receiver if they're playing in the man.
And like I would say this year they'd probably complain about it, but I mean, if you look at a guy like Derrick Henry, how many times did he have like 8 carries for 22 yards in the first half of a game and then finish with 20 carries for 150 yards?
Yeah.
Like that stuff adds up. It matters. You have to keep defenses honest. You have to, that's all part of the game. That's some of the kind of stuff that we would suggest you learn from watching other games, other teams, before coming to watch Packer games and then just complaining like, oh, why don't they just run the play that scores a touchdown every time? So
why didn't I think of that?
Right?
Man,
why didn't LaFleur think of that? Just run the touchdown play every time.
Duh.
If you run the touchdown play every time, you'll score touchdowns every time. Love was 10 for 12 on 0 to 9 yard passes, only 1 for 5 from 10 to 19. So that's where the opportunity lies with the passing game distribution. So leading into the offensive line, Cody is getting ahead of it, bringing up the potential Jordan Morgan apology form incoming, and I strongly agree that that's in the cards with the way
Yeah, so every time I felt like every time we looked up and Josh Jacobs was breaking off a big run, the first person right there patting him on the head was Jordan Morgan. And there was a lot of room running to the right side of the line behind Tom and Morgan. I thought they looked pretty good. Morgan outsnapped Sean Ryan like something like I think it was 46-14 at the right guard position. So he kind of grabbed onto that position.
Yeah.
Really, they just as a whole they looked quite a bit better. It did help with Hendricks going out. I will say that Rasheed Walker did look like a different player in the second half when he wasn't having to go against Hendricks. They allowed only 5 pressures as a team, which is great. And then there was no penalties. So that is also great. But I will say this. I think Sean Ryan has played okay. And at some point, I'm wondering if we need to start more thinking maybe Morgan should be taking snaps from Walker versus taking Ryan's position, because I have not been very impressed with Walker. I know he's had some tough matchups, but he's going to have another one this weekend against Josh Sweat, and we'll have to see what he does. He has not been that impressive. So I want the best 5 out there, and if if that means we have to put a Morgan over at left tackle over Rasheed Walker, maybe that's something we have to think about. Especially if if Belton comes back and starts looking decent, and I'm just saying, we'll see.
One thing sorry, go ahead, Jake. Okay.
I'm sorry. The best 5 was out there. The only role that Sean Ryan should have from now on is they put his big ass back as a fullback on the goal line.
He had a decent
dominant. I'm serious.
In his 14 snaps, he looked good. So
he's terrible in pass pro. I'm sorry. Just my opinion.
I was gonna say that the only reason I would be against that, because I do agree that at some point Jordan Morgan's going to be a starting wherever. I don't want to keep flip-flopping him from positions and sides of the line and stuff. And if flipping him to left tackle, I think he would absolutely get destroyed this week, and that's what he doesn't need. Yeah. I'd rather put someone like Walker in there who's at least had some reps.
And Walker sometimes does this too, where he kind of looks like crap for a series of games, and then he locks it back down. So hopefully he can figure that out. So
the other thing that I was going to say on the offensive line with Sean Ryan is I would have him taking a bunch of practice reps this week at left guard in case Aaron Banks gets banged up again.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Nice, I like that.
All right. How do we feel about the run game?
Oh, shoot. Sorry. I was thinking about something. Sorry, Josh. I was thinking about the Jordan Morgan picture I sent. Because it was fun.
We'll get there. I'll get it.
You're muted.
He's not muted, but his microphone cut out. Oh, Simon's fired.
No, we'll never know what Simon says.
Hello?
There we go.
Back. My bad.
His mustache is muffling his sound.
Yeah. I'm growing. It's coming in nice, I think.
It does look good. It looks good.
I saw
get your white band.
Yeah, I need to get out of the military and grow a full beard. So I thought the run blocking this week, especially on the interior line, looked really good, especially on that Josh Jacobs touchdown right down the middle for like 11 yards. Man, he wasn't even touched. Yeah. But Josh Jacobs, 18 for 93, 2 touchdowns. I thought this was easily his best game of the year. He also forced 5 missed tackles or 7, depending on where you looked, and averaged almost 40. I love that picture. Jordan Morgan.
Look at that vert.
I know.
Here it is.
That's why he was a first rounder.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman of the week. He also forced 5 missed tackles, averaged almost 4 yards after contact per attempt. Outside that, Golden had 2 attempts for 16 yards, and Love looked like this is what we wish we had last year with Jordan Love. He made some really smart runs and made some really smart decisions running the ball. So he had 7 attempts for 26 yards total. He had a few first down runs. I don't know if we'll wait till we get Jordan Love on that one. And then Brooks had 1 for 1, Williams 1 for 3, Emmanuel Wilson 3 for 11, and Melton had 1 for 3, totaling 33 attempts for 153 yards. I thought the offensive line looked.
Third and fourth down. First of all, I want to piggyback real quick. My favorite part about the run game is that Josh Jacobs laughs after literally.
Oh, yeah.
That was hilarious.
I saw it earlier today.
Dude, that's hilarious. And then to find out that he had a flu-like symptoms, dude, I was like,
yeah,
he's a dog, bro.
He's a dog. He had 22 touchdowns in 22 games for the Packers so far. I don't know if you guys saw that.
That's wild.
That's a pretty good number, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Seems good.
Third and fourth down, went 5 for 11, 1 for 1 on fourth down. The fourth down conversion was on the first drive of the game. This offense is still only scratching the surface. I'm so excited to see that LaFleur is finally putting his best 5 offensive linemen in the game at once. Missing some playmakers on the outside. It's really nice to negate some of that by putting your best 5 out there. The run game has been spectacular for the last 2 games. If you count the second half, really from the Cowboys game, it was really, really good. Josh Jacobs was the man in the second half, and he could help control the clock against the Bengals. So being able to run the ball like that helps put your offense in manageable third down situations, which helps everybody, helps Jordan Love, helps LaFleur as a play caller. So in the first half, third and short area, they went 0 for 2. In the third medium area, 2 for 4. And 1 for 2 on third and longs. Both third and longs were passes to Golden. Golden looked really good on those crossers across the field, was able to show his speed and his hands. The throw that Jordan Love made to convert the second third and long in the second half was just freaking ridiculous.
I don't think people realize how hard it is to be rolling to your left and then turn your body and just rip a ball in a line like that.
Dude, and he was like kind of falling to the ground to kind of take away some of the contact from the hit. And
you know what? This throw wasn't as good as the one I'm about to say, but it reminds you of like the throw that Aaron Rodgers made to Jared Cook along the sideline. That same kind of body movement, like turning and cranking. You know what I mean? Like the ability to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think enough people, and like this is also why you should probably watch other quarterbacks play, is because it's hard. You got to watch their feet. So for Love to be able to roll out to his left and set his feet like that and make a throw like that is just incredible. That's where, these people who think, they're just talking heads on TV, they talk about Jordan Love. They're like, he has all the talent in the world. He could be the most talented quarterback in the NFL. It's like, that's the stuff that they see, So just 2 incredible throws. Overall, they went 3 for 8 on first downs in the first half, 2 for 3 in the second half. Second half, they were really, really good, I thought. They had 2 attempts from third and short and 1 attempt from third and long. Again, they converted that one on third and long in the second half, 1 for 2 in the first half. So overall, good that you're only getting yourself into 11 third down situations, honestly. I'm not upset with
that. Part of that does go to
Summer's hotter weather is finally here, but don't let hair loss also make you sweat. Regrow hair with help from Hims. They provide access to personalized treatment so you can see thicker, fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Get started from the comfort of home. Fill out an intake form and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Individual results may vary. Based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
The condensed possessions. I mean, we talked about it a little bit already, but fewer possessions in this game did make for a shorter game also. Looking at the red zone, the Packers had 4 trips to the red zone. I was looking for 6, but again, talking about shorter game, shorter possessions, fewer possessions. So looking at it, first one, they had a 3rd and 5. That was the one that Jordan Love had an interception that was tipped and then picked. We'll talk about that when we talk about Jordan Love in a second. The second trip to the red zone, 2 beautiful passes by Jordan Love. 1 to Matthew Golden and then 1 to Josh Jacobs back-to-back. Took the Packers from their own 30-yard line to the Bengals' 5-yard line. They went 64 yards in 2 plays, had a defensive holding, and then Josh Jacobs had a 3-yard touchdown. Love that. That's what you want to see from Jordan Love. Yep. On their third trip to the red zone, they had a first 10 at the 17-yard line. Josh Jacobs ran for 3 yards, and then on 2nd and 7, Jacobs had that 14-yard touchdown with the absolutely beautiful blocking. Jordan Morgan getting to the second level to get blocks for Josh Jacobs. He, like you guys said, he was almost untouched until he was inside the 5-yard line. And then that was the response to the 10-minute drive by the Bengals to open the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So the Packers go on a 5-minute touchdown drive right after that. The fourth trip to the red zone, they had a 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. That resulted in a 19-yard touchdown to the torpedo Tucker, where he got to the 3.5-yard line and just dove straight for the end zone and scored it. So that was Bryant that came up with the torpedo Tucker. So just launched himself like a torpedo. Leave it to the military guy to make a artillery reference, but be funny.
It's just funny watching it. Like, he literally does jump from like just outside of the 3-yard line. It's just like you're thinking like the dude just jumped 10 feet like horizontally and
he's got
hit somebody
no
while
regard
doing it
for where defenders are. He does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, he sees the pylon, he's like, all right, I'm getting in.
Yeah, I was watching Good Morning Football the next morning, and it was the female host on there. She's like, this maniac Tucker Kraft. She was describing the touchdown. She's like, he dumps it off to this maniac Tucker Kraft. I think she's a Vikings player, so she's probably used to like watching Tucker Kraft play and stuff like that. Or a Vikings fan, I should say. So she watches Tucker Kraft play, but she called him a maniac. So
not even mad at it. He did threaten to burn people's houses down last year.
He is a maniac. In a good way.
So the Packers were 3 for 4 on touchdowns in the red zone. But let's jump into Jordan Love, because he threw an interception and it was in the red zone on 3rd and 5 at the 17-yard line. And what I said was, this is one of those times where Jordan Love should throw the ball away. I would be fine with him taking this risk if the Packers were at, say, like the 40-yard line. And you're in a position where you're either thinking about a really short punt or a really, really long field goal, and you're in that kind of no man's land, then I'm fine with you throwing a questionable ball, because if it gets intercepted, then that just takes the place of your punt. But I mean, if you're at the 40-yard line, like, you're not kicking a 57-yard field goal of Lucas Haversick. McManus, maybe if he's healthy. But not if he's banged up and playing. So that's kind of the area where I'd be like, okay, that's where you can, risk it for the biscuit and let a ball go. But you're in the red zone, that throw, that's not the place to take the risk. That's where you throw the ball away, because that did cost the Packers 3 points. If we're sitting here talking about the Packers winning 30-18, like, we're all feeling pretty good. I still think 27-18 is nothing to feel bad about, but I think that would change some of the perception in the fan base as well. So, other than that, Jordan Love was 17 for 21 when he was kept clean. He was 5 for 8 for 74 yards and a touchdown, and the other 4 completions all went for first downs when running play action. He had a 132.3 rating when running play action. Please run more play action.
Also, the running is working.
So, Bryant, how did you feel about Jordan Love?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, he needs to throw that ball away. I'll say there's one, like, this guy pisses me off. It's Pete Doherty, or however you say his name. He just always has, like, he's like the Eeyore of the reporting room. He was like, shouldn't Jordan be past making these types of throws, like, in his third year? I'm sitting there thinking, like, you see other quarterbacks do this type of crap all the time. Josh Allen makes throws like this all the time. And guess what? When he makes, and it's an amazing throw and someone makes the catch and everyone's like, oh my God, look at the throw he made. No one else will ever make that. Jordan Love is going to take some risks. He's got that little bit of Favre in him. He's going to take some risks. Would you like to happen to have the 40, like to allude to Tyler's point? 100%. You don't want to take points off the board. I said he needs to just throw that away. Yep. But there's that little bit that you want him to try to make a play. And I like his moxie and his attitude that he feels like he can make those plays.
Well, and like something Jake and I say all the time too is you don't fault effort. Again, there's there's a point to be made on the decision making aspect of it, but like it's still effort trying to make a play there.
So I like Matt LaFleur. He kind of stuck up for him. He's like, these guys in these leagues aren't perfect. Like it was just a stupid question the way he phrased it. Like, who shouldn't he be past this? And then today about the whole third down, like where he slid. yes, would we have liked to see Jordan Love probably dive there or something? Or we seen him truck somebody earlier in the year? I don't want him to get hurt necessarily, but I felt like he probably could have got that first down if he just would have ran a little more diagonal, took a little bit of contact and got out of bounds, sure. But he was probably thinking about wanting to keep the clock moving too.
That's what I was thinking, keeping the clock going.
So, you want to see him make that play or whatever. That was another thing. Pete Doherty's like, wouldn't you? What's the coaching point there? Wouldn't you like to see him make that play? I'm like, if I was a reporter in this room, I'd slap him in the back of his bald head.
It'd be one of those situations where you look at him like this and be like,
yeah.
He's not coming on our show. We cannot.
No, because I can't stand it. But overall, I thought he played really well. There's several throws a game he makes. He had those right after he overthrows Luke Musgrave, and you're like, that was a bad throw. And he comes out and says, yeah, this is just a piss poor throw. He goes, and that's immediately after he makes that throw to Golden up the sideline, and then he makes that play to freaking Josh Jacobs where he's, okay, now we're scoring a touchdown. This is why people think he's a top, he is a top 10 quarterback because he can make those plays. And the last thing, yeah, he threw an interception. Guess what? He has 2 on the season. Most of the quarterbacks that are started at least have 2. There's like 1. I think Baker Mayfield has 1. Everyone else has 2 or more, pretty much, that have played a decent amount of games. So it's not like he's throwing a huge number of interceptions. He could be Geno Smith, who's throwing 10 on the year. You know what I mean? Next Jameis Winston. So, this idea that he's got to be 100% perfect all the time and shouldn't try anything is getting exhausting. We're very lucky to have him as a quarterback.
And Jordan Love has 7 interceptions. I mean, we're 5 games in, and he's got 2.
Yeah.
So multiply that by 3, that's 6. Give him a bonus one. If he's got 7 interceptions, who's mad? We all predicted him to have 10 or 11.
God forbid he ends the season at 28 to 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Horrible.
Oh, no. What if he goes 30-10?
Yeah. 3-to-1 ratio.
Who?
Tom Brady had less than a 3-to-1 ratio in his career. So, I mean, so people just need to give it up a little bit.
I mean, look at just the guys in his draft class.
Yeah.
Tua has 7.
Yeah. So
Justin Herbert has 4. Trevor Lawrence has 5.
Yeah.
And those are just the guys in his draft class.
Yeah. So
Mac Jones is a backup and has 3. Jake Browning is a backup and has 8.
Yeah. So
Joe Flacco's played for 2 different teams and has 6.
Yeah. So people just need to stop with the lofty expectations because he's doing, other than Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl in his 3rd year or whatever. Other than doing that, he's on pace of what Aaron Rodgers did for our team. I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying give the guy a break.
Yeah, he's fine. And even beyond that, you look at some of the advanced metrics, he's arguably a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go that far, but he's for sure a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
And I would say you could probably comfortably put him top 8.
Yeah. So, but yeah, very good game. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there.
But just about Jordan Love?
When people think he should be perfect. But.
Yeah.
You're muted again. I'm not sure what's going on.
All right, Jake, while Simon figures out his mic, what did you think about Jordan Love?
Geez, Simon doesn't want to talk at all, apparently. we're just going to have to run the rest of the show. So I thought that Jordan Love was great. I thought that there was what I wish I would have wrote down, because he kind of gave a look after LaFleur was kind of running a lot of horizontal stuff kind of consecutively. I thought the offense looked a little like it was running in the mud for a sec. And then he had a nice pass to Tucker Kraft over the middle, and that kind of jump-started the offense again. He kind of gave a look to LaFleur dude, let me sling this thing, dude. The first couple of weeks of the season when I was averaging, almost 11 yards an attempt, that's when this offense was humming. We finally, it kind of feels like we turned the corner a little bit with the run game. So now I would still like to push the ball down the field a little bit. So, once we were able to do that, Jordan Love was just letting it rip. He had a couple really nice throws to Matthew Golden. That timing's finally coming up. I mean, we're going to get a 6'5" Gazelle coming back here pretty soon. So get him running up the sideline will be really nice. He's also a very, very underrated run blocker in the wide receiver room as well. So I think Jordan Love's numbers are only going to get better. I mean, look at how good he's doing right now. People forget Toyotathon's coming up, people. Jordan Love Toyotathon is coming up. So we still got the MVP version of this guy coming up later in the season, and he's already dominating right now. So honestly, all jokes aside, I think Jordan Love's playing really, really good football right now. Maybe that's just me, but
Simon, what do you want to say about Jordan Love?
So go just real quick on like the turnovers too. As Jordan Love's like middle of the pack in turnover worthy play percentage, so it's not like he's absolutely killing us every week, making horrible decisions and stuff. That was weird. So I'm not like in terms of this game. Outside the interception, where I think we all agree that he just should have thrown it away because he had the opportunity and lived for another play. Yeah, other than that, I thought he played a tremendous game. I thought he made very good decisions, and also one thing about this year, the receivers are catching the ball. We have one of the I can't, don't quote me on this. I think he's like 20. We're like 22nd in the league, in a good way in drop percentage.
Yep.
So pretty good. And then just in general, Jordan Love has been so good on third down this year. I don't know if you guys saw that graphic or read an article about it or whatever. Love on third down this year, 14 completions of 15 yards, most in the NFL, 89.5 PFF passing grade, second in the league, 9.4 yards per attempt, second in the league, 51.5% conversion percentage on third down, best in the league. Like, this offense is playing so well, and you can attribute a lot of that to Jordan Love. There's one more thing I had about Jordan Love this game. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Jordan Love completed all 9 of his quick passes, which are throws under 2.5 seconds for 85 yards and a touchdown. Like, Matt LaFleur game planned this so well for what the Bengals rolled out. They played a lot of too high this week. That means you run the ball and you make quick passes. And, yeah, like the ADOT might not look the best, but I don't give a crap. Sorry, I almost got super bad. I don't care. It works. It works. Jordan Love made some good decisions after that interception, and that led to the offense having a really, really good day.
Yeah. All righty. So
one more thing.
We're gonna move
about the interceptions real quick. Sorry, I just looked it up. So I counted them. There's 29 quarterbacks in the NFL that have just as many or more interceptions as Jordan Love. So there's 2 starters that have one, and that's Baker Mayfield, and Jaden Daniels has one, but he's been injured. Lamar Jackson has one, and he's been injured. So
Baker Mayfield also has more
in the game last night. So there's that.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield also has been getting lucky this year. I think he leads the league in like turnover worthy plays, or like close to.
Yeah.
He is.
Alrighty.
He actually is the reincarnation of Brett Favre. I'm just going to say that right now.
Baker Mayfield looks good this year, though.
He's
so fun.
Sure.
But he can run, too.
Yeah. So could Favre.
All right. Let's jump into Packers Cardinals. Brian, what are you looking for from the Packers defense against the Cardinals offense?
Yeah, so kind of like people are assuming that we should just mop the floor with the Cardinals because they've lost 4 in a row. They're 2-4. However, they're 2-4, but they have a positive point differential. They're +3 in the point differential. They've lost their 4 games by a combined 8 points. They have two losses by 1 point. They have another loss by 3, and then they have another loss by a couple. Like they're in close games. So they have a plus point percentage. Now you can argue of who they played. Fine, I can hear that, but they just gave the Colts, who's a 5-1 team, everything they can handle in Indianapolis with
a backup quarterback,
with Jacoby Brissett starting at quarterback. So they have been decent. Cardinals have been decent running the ball. However, that was mostly with Benson and Connor before he got hurt. So the 2 running backs that they're going to have starting against us,
Michael Carter.
Michael Carter and Knight, they have on 43 attempts. Guess how many yards after contact those 2 have combined?
On 43 attempts?
Yeah.
28 yards.
4.
30.
4 yards. So if we get so
that's so bad.
So they're not breaking tackles. So if we can get our hands
or falling forward, they're literally just getting stood up.
Exactly. So if we can get our hands on these guys, we're good. You know what I mean? Like, so linebackers need to be ready to hit these guys in the hole. They're not going to break. They're not going to be doing what we've seen the Bengals do. So I'll say they are bottom 10 in throwing the ball in the league. So, and they're top 5 in sacks allowed. So hopefully we can get to the quarterback a little bit. They have turned the ball over 7 times, but they've also forced 7 turnovers. So this is what I'm saying. They're very close to a 500 team that we shouldn't just take lightly rolling into Arizona. They have a plus point differential. They've lost them. Like that loss against Tennessee was very ugly. It's almost like what we did against the Bengals, but theirs was somehow worse by fumbling into their own end zone. Brown, sorry. I will say the right side of their offensive line has been awful. So they have Will Hernandez over as right guard, and his pass blocking grade on the year is 4.
I saw that too. Bro.
Is that a real number?
Yes,
it is. It's right between 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I must have skipped that one in first grade or something.
So that Michigan education.
Yeah, it's not great.
So their left tackle, Paris Johnson, who we all liked coming out of the draft, he's been very good. But him in the center have been the only bright spots that sent on their offensive line. So I think Gary and Parsons might be fighting who gets to line up over the right tackle. So I'm hoping we can get some pressure, get some sacks. They're probably going to try to throw the ball quickly, but they have given up 18 sacks. So this is one of the, top half of the teams getting sacked in the league. And lastly, for our linebackers, it's going to really depend on if Murray plays or if Brissett plays, because Brissett will still run the ball, but not nearly as much as Murray. So Murray's status is still up in the air. So that's one thing we'll have to keep an eye on. So, but overall, their defense, they've only, you can throw the ball on them and on their cornerbacks, but they've only given up like 7 touchdowns and have 4 interceptions. So their secondary has given up some yards passing, but they've kind of locked down when it mattered. So this team isn't a bad team. So don't be surprised if we're in for another dogfight.
Yeah. As far as the defensive line is concerned, you're talking about Gary and Parsons fighting who gets to line up over the right tackle. I liked seeing Lucas Van Ness, Micah Parsons, and Rashawn Gary essentially used interchangeably. I think it creates a lot of stress and potential confusion for opposing offensive lines, which I'm a big fan of. If you're confusing opponent offensive lines, that's not good for the opposing quarterback. The Cardinals had Jacoby Brissett throw the ball, I think, 44 times last week, which is insane work. But, I mean, there's opportunity for the Packers pass rushers to mix it up, to all get a crack at it, and create some confusion, oh shit, where's Micah Parsons, looking back and forth kind of thing, which is part of why we traded for him. That said, I need more from Carl Brooks, from Colby Wooden, those two especially. Nazir Stackhouse, Warren Brinson, and Barron Sorrell are rookies, so I'll give them some time before I assign expectations to those 3. But I need more from Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden. So, Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
I think there's some excitement to be had. I know their offense is still very manageable with what they have. Like Kyler Murray, who knows? Like Brian said, he's up in the air. Marvin Harrison might not play this week because he has a concussion. Trey Benson and Connors are both out. What's his name? DeMarcado doesn't like touchdowns, I guess. Like, I don't know what happened.
I don't understand why that's still happening, bro.
I don't know. I don't get it.
I can't fathom how it happens the week after it just.
Yeah, because it was what's his name from the Colts, right? And they ended up losing that game because of that.
Yeah. That should be a once a season kind of thing. Like once you see it happen,
you're like, ooh, it's not going to be me.
I better not drop the ball early.
Yeah.
The fact that it happened 2 weeks in a row is bananas.
Yeah. So I think if we just contain the run game, force them into some 3rd and longs, let the pass rushers pin the ears back, and work that right side of the offensive line, I think this defense can honestly feast on what they have. Trey McBride's really the only other worry. He's a good route runner, great pass catcher. Like I think he's going to end up with like 10 plus targets this week.
Oh yeah,
especially against 40 times again.
Yeah.
Good point. I did write down that Trey McBride would be a problem, so I'm wondering if we're going to see a little bit more safety help on him and stuff like that. So
he's the only offensive weapon I'm really concerned about.
Yeah. Marvin
Cody
Harrison
asked Will
has had a
Johnson's out
decent
again.
game.
I'll leave that to Bryant when we get to the injury section. Jake, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
Yeah, so Arizona offense, 22nd in yards per game, 24th in pass yards per game, 17th in rush yards per game, 20th in points per game. They suck. Packers defense, 5th in yards per game, 11th in pass yards per game, 1st in rush yards per game, 10th in points per game.
Why aren't we winning
right.
30-0 every week?
I think we're going to be all right. You guys covered all of it. I'm not going to regurgitate everything you said. Stop the run. I wrote down as well, Trey McBride's really the only guy. Going against Dallas, Dak Prescott, he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league as of right now, in my opinion. He's absolutely balling. And then, so that's the problem with the Cowboys. He could pick apart any zone defense. You look at the Bengals, you don't know how the Bengals are going to use Joe Flacco. They have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. What the hell the Cardinals have? They don't have either of those things.
Greg Dortch.
We're going to be all right.
And Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Guy with 2 first names. All right. Bryant, what are you looking for from special teams?
Yeah, I mean, same thing, right? So they actually their kicker's been decent. He's missed a couple kicks, but Ryland is actually a young kicker. He's a pretty good kicker. I will say they've struggled on returns. They haven't looked that good on returns, so hopefully we can pin them back a little bit. And hopefully, our return, Savion Williams, I think, has been really good on the kick return. So hopefully he can continue that. And then if, obviously we just have to wait and see if it's going to be Haverslick or if it's going to be a McManus. So the Packers did cut their international path player program. I don't know if that means they're keeping Haverslick on the practice squad. I know that's different, like what they, different spots,
Different
whatever.
designation.
Exactly. But we'll see what happens there. I imagine Haverslick is probably going to be sticking around at least for this week as we get through with McManus. But really just if we can make our kicks again, everything 45 and in for sure, that way you don't want to miss and give them good field position. I think if we can just play another quiet, solid game, we'll be all right.
Yeah. On the coaching part of it, I would just, like I said, we talked about it already. Just coaching up Love on the mistake when it comes to where he threw the interception, not the throw itself, or the choice to take a risk itself, but just where it happened, and just be like, hey, we're in the red zone. That's 3 points. That's really the big thing that I'm looking for from week to week. And again, we talked about it at length. If Jordan Love's on pace to throw 6 to 7 interceptions, so there's no worry that this is like a big problem, like he's making horrible decisions. Like, not at all worried about that. All right, let's jump into the offense. Looking on the offensive side of the ball, as far as passing game distribution goes, I'm very, very much hoping that Christian Watson is a go this week. It's obviously something that Brian's going to talk about when we get into the injury section, but if Christian Watson is back, buckle up. I cannot wait to have him on the field because Malik Heath played 28 snaps last week and didn't do anything. That's about 25 more snaps than I want to see Malik Heath on the field for. He had 0 targets. He ran 15 routes, and he was a below-average run blocker when he was in. So I'm sincerely hoping that Christian Watson is back to take all of Malik Heath's work away. Other than that, as far as the passing game distribution goes, I'd like to see anyone unlock that 10 to 19 yard area, that intermediate area. I don't care if it's a wide receiver. I don't care if it's a tight end, but somebody getting in that intermediate area and kind of unlocking that space, because I think that's one of those areas that can help the Packers take their offense to the next level, especially when it gets to those 3rd and medium situations, those 3rd and 5 to 7 downs. Other than that, with the red zone, I wanted 5 for 6 last week. The game got shortened. There were fewer possessions. The Packers were 3 for 4, so not super far off. That's 75% compared to 83%. The Packers did also kick a field goal in the 4th quarter. That was 4th and 2 at the 21-yard line. So 2 yards away from having a 5th red zone trip. So I'm going to say I'm looking for 5 red zone trips this week. Packers are currently getting 71.4% touchdowns in the red zone, which is great. And Arizona is currently allowing 57.1%. So if Packers get 5 trips and they get 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, that would be good. And if they get 4 touchdowns and a field goal, that would be great. So, Jake, what are you looking for from the Packers offense?
So I wrote down the rankings for offense and defense too, because I got so interested after reading the other side of the ball. So Packers offense ranks 9th in total yards. You'd never know by reading Facebook comment sections, just saying. They're 10th in passing yards per game. Jordan Love's not the guy. That's all I've been hearing all year. 12th in rush yards per game. You know, they just can't run the ball, dude. They just struggle to run the ball. They really struggle. And 8th in points per game. I mean, I really don't understand what people are looking at this point, honestly. Arizona, 24th in yards per game. 28th in pass yards per game. 13th in rush yards. They're actually pretty decent in that one. I'll give them some respect on that one. I will say about rush yards, they are one of the worst teams in yards after carry. Or yards after contact, my fault. And they're 14th in points per game. They only allow 21. So their defense is kind of a bend, don't break kind of deal. The Packers offense every once in a while does bail out other teams' defenses. So I would like to see Jordan Love. My goal is I want to see Jordan Love sling the ball like 35 times. I think that they could be had through the air. I think Tucker Kraft is a really good matchup this week. I also think that Max Melton, who is one of the worst tackling corners in the NFL right now, is going to have a very tough time tackling number 8 on Sunday. So that's what I got.
And hopefully number 9.
And hopefully number 9. I would love to see Watson out there. I love Watson. Yeah. His dad, though,
I haven't seen him really talk that much, to be honest.
I can't see him talk because he blocked me because he's a China.
So you're saying they're really bad after yards after contact?
They're
against
bad.
One of the best running backs in the league in yards after contact?
And Tucker Kraft is pretty good after contact.
And the best tight end in yards after contact?
Yep, that's good for us. Well, you know, our offense sucks.
Love that.
Loving that.
Brian, what are you looking for from the Packers offense?
Yeah, sorry, and I mixed some of their the Cardinals defense and stuff when I was talking our defense. But yeah, so they will give up some yards to the air, but they've been pretty good. 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They're top 10 in passer rating allowed. So they've actually have a better passer, defensive passer rating allowed against quarterback than we do. Top 15 in points per game. So that, they haven't been scored on like crazy, but now they've played the Saints, Tennessee, some teams that aren't world beaters as well. And they've only had 11 sacks this year or so, and 8 of them have come from Josh Sweat or Calais Campbell, who I don't know if that guy's ever going to quit, but so we'll need to slow those 2 down. And if we can get our 5, keep some consistency, have those same 5 guys out there, I think we'll have a better chance of doing that. So just kind of slow down Josh Sweat. This is just another week where we're running into a pass rusher that can wreck the game. So we have another one next week, a guy named TJ Watt. So it's becoming a theme. So we just need to slow him down, Josh Sweat down, and I think we'll be all right. So I just really want to see them get the run game going again. Cardinals have been like middle of the pack on, rushing against them. So you can run against them. So get the run game going and work that play action again. And, just be careful. And, Will Johnson will be playing. He played last week. He's been very good rookie. However, he's pretty much been their only good cornerback. So, yeah.
Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers offense?
Love Will Johnson. For the offense, just like Bryant said, Calais Campbell's just an angel's wonder. He's such a good player, and I think he's 40 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
I would love Green Bay to trade for him if he became
available. I've been thinking that for like 3 years, bro. He'd be such a nice depth piece this year.
Oh, he'll be he's
starter.
He's 39. He'll be 40 next year. I can't. It's been a long time since I feel like we've seen like a 40-year-old defender. Yeah. But he's been stellar for them this year. So hopefully some good interior offensive line play again. And then I want us to lean on the run game this week. And I think this is going to be another short passing game. Cardinals have been pretty good in downfield passing, allowing the 5th lowest passer rating in the NFL in downfield throws. So I'm looking at a lot of Golden and Dobbs underneath route, get some yak. Get some balls to Tucker Kraft. I hope we see more than 2 targets this week for him. Again, get him going and get him the ball, and he can crush a dude. Maybe can eat himself at them again for a touchdown.
All right, Brian, what injury designations are we watching for?
Yeah, it's like a CVS receipt again. Obviously, it's only Tuesday, so we haven't seen anything. So there'll be a lot to watch for. There's some that we might not even know of. But, Zach Tom sounds like he's pretty sore after the game, but maybe not a setback. So hopefully that means that, nothing got worse and he'll just, at least stand pat or slightly improve. I felt like we kind of seen that last year with Jordan's knee. So hopefully, and that he continued to play, but it just slowly got better because he's still hurting it on Sundays and it's re-healing to play again. So hopefully he plays.
Too.
Yeah, Banks, we'll just have to keep on, see, make sure nothing got worse with him. They both finished the game, so that's a good sign. Wicks hurt his ankle, so we'll have to wait to hear about that. LVN hurt his foot. Matt LaFleur said he avoided anything, catastrophic, but we'll have to see. So I have a feeling he's going to go under the Wyatt bucket where it's week to week. We'll see what happens. But then again, Matt LaFleur is very, tongue-in-cheek about talking anything about injuries. So Devontae Wyatt, we'll see if he can do anything this week. Christian Watson, I will say if Christian Watson plays, I feel like he's going to be it'll definitely be like 15 snap count, 10, 15 snap count, but that'd be great. I do think the fact that Arizona has natural grass versus turf does give it the opportunity. If this was turf, I would say there's 100% chance he's not playing. I would feel comfortable saying that now, but with it being real grass, it's possible that he'll play. And then we'll have to keep an eye on Belton and Glover. Glover was coming back last, off IR. And then we'll have to see if, Lloyd or Colin Oliver practice at all. Like I said, it's a long list for the Packers. And then for the Cardinals, we'll have to see if Kyler Murray, what happens with him. Marvin Harrison left the game with a concussion. I will say he looked mad that they were taking him out of the game, so I have a feeling he'll probably clear protocol and play. And then the last one for us would be McManus. Just kind of keep on what's going on with that. So,
Jake, what's the weather going to be like?
They're in a dome.
All right. Simon, give me your X Factor.
Wait, don't they have a roof, don't they? Or like a retractable?
That's kind of how a dome works.
Yeah.
I would say
Well,
they can open it up. It could be an outside game.
Dude, they're in Arizona, bro. I was like, dude, they're gonna have the roof closed. It's
been peeing rain down here.
Peeing
I got our slot corner in the matchup versus McBride. I think containing him is going to be a huge help to the defense because I don't know where else they're going to go, to be honest.
Brian, who's your X Factor?
Yeah, I had the matchup of X Factor of Golden versus Max Melton, both two very fast guys coming out of the draft. So Max Melton has not been good tackling, and Golden's faster than him. So I'm hoping we can see Golden take one over the top and be gone.
Jake, who's your X Factor?
My X Factor is Mr. Giggles himself, Josh Jacobs. According to PFF, the Cardinals have 29 missed tackles so far this year, and last year they were ranked dead last in yards after contact. This year they're not much better. They average giving up 3.6 yards per carry after contact, bro.
Oh boy.
So when you said that stat before, Brian, I was going to saying like, holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
So I picked a guy on the injury report, and my X Factor is Christian Watson. And it's got a lot to do with Malik Heath being below average run blocking and wasn't targeted on the 15 routes that he ran. If Christian Watson can play 30 snaps, that's more than enough for him to make an impact more than Malik Heath did last week. If Dontavian Wicks is out this week, multiply that times 5 if Wicks is limited or out too. How important Christian Watson becomes to me for the Packers offense.
Yeah, I just don't see a way he can play 30 snaps, but I could be wrong.
You look at it, the Packers I think had, I want to say 65 snaps last week on offense. So looking at 50%. Yeah. But we'll see. Obviously there's going to be a lot of run blocking. He's going to be doing more run blocking than anybody else as far as wide receivers go. So I'm not expecting him to be running 30 routes, but if he gets 15 run blocks and 15 pass snaps, maybe.
I can see that. That's actually not a bad number.
All right, Jake, what do you have? Score prediction, head and heart. Give me your score prediction from the head.
Well, since the Cardinals for some reason are always in the game, and for some reason the Packers always allow everybody else in the goddamn game, I have 24-20 Green Bay.
All right. Simon, what do you have from the head?
28-20.
All right.
28-20.
All right. I have 27-22.
Ooh.
This is going to be another one of those games where the Packers will win, and people will complain that they didn't win by enough because they perceive the Cardinals as bad.
If you win any road game in the NFL, that's a W. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if we win by 1 point tomorrow, Sunday, excuse me, I'll be happy.
Yeah. The spread is only 6.5, and that's because they don't even know if Murray is going to play. So we're not even a touchdown favorite.
Well, Battlefield was just released, so I'm not sure he'll play.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Jake, score prediction from the head.
What the score should be, 34-17.
All right. Simon from the heart.
I have 31-10.
Ooh.
I think this game could easily flip and get out of control.
I agree.
Interesting. Bryant from the
I
heart.
put 30-17.
Hey, me too.
So.
All right. Bryant, how many bold predictions do you have this week for Simon Says?
Just 3.
Just 3. Okay. All right, rip your first one.
Yeah, I put Matthew Golden follows up his game with 100 yards and a touchdown this week.
Yeah. I have a Matthew Golden one while we're talking about it. Matthew Golden touchdown over 50 yards. Like he catches a touchdown. His touchdown will be an over 50-yard touchdown.
Well, that would help towards Brian's bold prediction. So
yes.
And I would say, like I said, Jordan Love was 4 for 5 on deep balls last week.
Yep.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Jake, you got one for offense?
Yeah. Josh Jacobs, 4 touchdowns.
Holy
Damn.
I almost put Josh Jacobs
Aaron Jones
3 touchdowns.
We've seen Aaron Jones. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be wild. I could see it happening. Yeah. Beat him inside the 5-yard line. W.
Yeah.
Let me pull it down to 3 and give one to Jordan Love. Both of my Simon Says this week involve the number 25. So for Jordan Love, it's 25 rushing yards and a touchdown. The Cardinals are 6th in quarterback rushing yards allowed at 11.3, so they're pretty decent against it. But so were the Bengals. They didn't allow very many rushing yards to the quarterback either. I think this is one of those games where Jordan Love can maybe get a couple scrambles. So Jordan Love, 25 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I like it.
Little side note, the Packers are number 1 in quarterback opponent rushing yards at 3.6. All right. Bryant, give us your second one.
Yeah, I put that Gary and Parsons get back on the stat sheet this week and get a sack each. Nothing crazy, but we just haven't been sacking. So just 1 sack each.
Yeah, I like it. Gary was close. He had 2 quarterback hits last week. And then Micah Parsons has just been a game wrecker. I think if Brissett, especially if Brissett plays, he holds the ball a little bit longer, and I think he's susceptible to sacks.
I agree.
We're in a position where Micah Parsons probably going to have over 100 pressures. Or 50, sorry. Could have 100 pressures. Going to be over 75.
Yeah, he's going to come close to 100 for sure.
So that would be essentially 6 pressures a game would get him to 102.
Yeah.
What I will say about Micah Parsons is he played 58 out of 65 snaps last week.
Yeah.
So he's good to go. So, and I hope Lucas Van Ness is good to go because this is going to play into mine with those guys all rotating. If all 3 of them are healthy, full go, which it appears that they are. If Lucas Van Ness is also, is mine for the Packers defense is the Packers get 25 pressures as a team. Had 22 last week.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially if the Cardinals fall in a hole early and they end up having to pass like 40 sometimes. I think it's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the running game is just not the same without Connors or Benson.
No.
Jake, you got one for defense?
Yeah. No, I did this with Kyler Murray out in mind because I don't think he's going to play. 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception.
All right, hold on. He said 4 sacks, right?
4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. They recover one of the forced fumbles, so they have a fumble recovery, and they have an interception.
Yeah, I like it. a lot. I have my bold prediction is Packers force 3 turnovers.
Hey, see, we're on the same page here.
Would love to get just a couple.
Yeah,
one would even be nice.
Yeah,
that's the only thing this defense doesn't do is it doesn't force turnovers, but they literally shut everything down. So
because people don't throw at McKinney anymore.
Yeah, and it's hard to force turnovers when they're throwing the ball 3 to 5 yards, and that's
I know.
But that goes back to what you were saying, Brian, earlier. Is like this defense does need. I think Matt LaFleur acknowledged that it's going to happen, or that it's been happening the past few games, where the second half defense just doesn't look as solid as the first, so they might be more open to some changes and adjustments like the opposing offenses have. So I think the defense does make some adjustments this week, and you'll see maybe a little more aggressive plays and a little more risky plays. And so I think we're going to have a turnover this week.
I feel like that's better for a guy like Nate Hobbs anyways. I feel like that's more his style.
I agree.
So that all ties into my last bold prediction because I think they're going to be looking for Trey McBride a lot, and I put that Edge Cooper has his first interception of the year.
I like that. That'd be nice.
Yeah. I do kind of think that maybe Hafley's kind of keeping some things in the back pocket because we have a lot of division games at the end of the year. We've only played one division game so far. We're going into week 7. So we got a lot of division games coming up at the end of the year. Maybe he's holding on to some stuff to, go after, Ben Johnson since he wants to run his mouth about LaFleur and stuff. So I don't know. That's just another angle you can look at it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else you guys want to say? Packers Cardinals on Sunday.
No, let that go. Just get out of there with a win and get ready for the next big game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you guys next Tuesday, and we'll see Jake and I again tomorrow to talk about Brewers, Badgers, and Bucks. So go Pack, go. See you guys next week.
Go Pack.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.